Welcome into Saratoga Saturdays. I wish I was in Saratoga right now. The one and only Jonathan Kinchen is in Saratoga. I'm in Asbury Park. I'm here celebrating a big birthday party with me and a few of my closest friends. But really, listen, great party going on here, but really the party is in Saratoga where you're at, Jonathan. Before we dive into the three races we're going to highlight today, how's been the first week, 2 weeks up in Saratoga? How's it been for you? Fun, right?
Oh, it's been unbelievable. Obviously, we didn't get to experience it in full last year. I was here. I got to, be here for the races, and we were grateful for that. But the fans weren't here, so it didn't have the same energy. But just walking around town, walking around the track, you just feel it, and it's such a special place. And 7 weeks from now, I think I'll probably be crying a little bit.
I doubt that. Crying and money, crying with making it rain. Well, how about that? I'll buy that. All right, let's get into the three races you're highlighting today. The first one is race 5, the Coaching Club American Oaks, a little over a mile. Malathat is the one horse that you are eyeing. Todd Pletcher horse, as we know. In doing some research for the show, there are a number of analysts that are comparing this horse to Rags to Riches. So first and foremost, break down this horse, break down why you're liking this horse in race 5.
Well, look, I think everyone loves a superstar in racing. When you look down at the past performances and you see that list of ones, it's just exciting. It's exciting to see a horse that just hasn't been beaten before. We know how difficult this game is. We know that really good horses lose races. American Pharoah lost his first race. American Pharoah lost the Travers. A great horse like that. Rachel Alexandra had losses. And I think so when you see a horse like Malathat who hasn't lost, no, we're always a little bit drawn to that. Now, I will be fair, like from a speed figure standpoint, which we kind of compare to like a quarterback rating in football, just, the higher the better. Whoever's got the highest speed figure is running the fastest races. Her numbers aren't quite up there with the greats of the game, but she's still young, progressing. She's a 3-year-old. She'll continue to improve. She got a late start to the year. And so I think that's part of the reason why she's so exciting. And it's also part of the reason why I think there's only 4 horses in this race is because, thoroughbreds only can race so much, and you don't want to race. You don't want to waste a race when you know you're going to run second. And I think a lot of connections, owners, trainers felt the same way about this race. It's a prestigious race. So the fact that there's only 4, I think they're running from Malathat because she's that good.
And so, again, only 4 horses. Who do you feel is her biggest opponent, and how would you play this race?
Her. She's
her. Sorry. Yeah.
No. I'm saying her. She's her biggest opponent. These other horses, they can't beat her. I don't see a scenario in which she gets beat. I feel like she could, we don't want to wish anything like this. She could stumble at the start and still win. She could have trouble and still win. It could be a paceless race and she can still win. As long as Johnny keeps both feet in the irons, I think she's going to definitely win this race. It's a little bit interesting from a pace standpoint. There's not a lot of early pace in here. So to see who's going to go to the front, I think is a little bit sneaky. And I was actually fortunate enough last night to have dinner with Johnny Velasquez. And I asked him, I was like, are you going to go to the front with this filly? And he said he's going to do whatever happens at the break. She's that good that she could end up on the front end for a horse that comes from out of it typically, but there's just no pace in the race.
Interesting. It's going to be fun to watch, and definitely, a name to pay attention to, of course, is it's sounding like this horse is going to be a special horse for the next 2 years. All right.
And her mother was great as well. It's one of the cool things in this game is you take a great stallion like Curlin, who was an absolute superstar, and you take her mother, who is a superstar in Dreaming of Julia. And a lot of times you bring those two together and you don't get good horses. It's not an automatic. My friend Richie Migliore always makes a joke about Joe DiMaggio, about how, Miss DiMaggio had a few kids and only one of them was Joe. It's the same idea. It doesn't always happen. So even though she's well-bred, she's still pretty darn special.
All right, let's move on to the 6th race. It's for 2-year-olds, dirt maiden race, 6 furlongs. And again, we just talked about Malathat and how, we anticipate her to be a huge future star. This is where you can see some future stars as well. Let's talk about 2 specific horses. Let's talk about the 7th horse. Watasha, right? Chad Brown is its trainer. What's so special about this horse? Why do you like this horse in race 6?
Yeah, she seems to be working really well in the mornings. When it comes to these first-time starters, the clues we get are pedigree, like I mentioned earlier. You can get a little bit of clues from that. You can also get clues from like their sales price, how much they sold for, so on and so forth. And then the other thing is how they work in the mornings. These horses basically every day go out on the racetrack and kind of gallop around there. Maybe it would be the human equivalent to jogging. And then once a week, they go out there and they kind of really run for about a half a mile and really kind of open up and stride out. Sometimes they'll work in company, sometimes with someone, sometimes they'll work by themselves, and they have clockers that are checking to see how fast they're going and how they're doing it. Where, you know, they're not all out going fast, but comfortably going fast. And it seems, based on the workout report, which you can get, there's some workout reports you can get from DRF, the Daily Racing Form, where it kind of breaks down what's going on with these horses. And Watasha's last work was a B+. It's not very often you see A- or A's. A B+ is kind of that, hey, you better pay attention to this one. So Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz, Chad kind of got off to a slow start to Chad standards here at Saratoga as a trainer, trying to win that trainer title. Irad, arguably the greatest rider in the world right now. It's a nice combination. It seems, like I said, this horse is working well. I'd expect a big performance from Watasha.
What about the 9-horse Irish C?
Yeah, this is another one for with Shug McGahee. Shug, a Hall of Famer in his own right, the trainer of Orb, the Kentucky Derby. I don't remember exactly what year. I'm bad at years, but maybe 5-6 years ago, Orb won. This is another horse that has some pedigree. He has Jose Ortiz, Irad's brother, another great rider in his own right, who won the Lake George Stakes yesterday. This is another horse that's seems to be training well. When you look at the past performances, the workout report, got a solid B workout, was 6 lengths clear of a workmate. Those are the types of clues that you can get with these first-time starters. And like we talked about last week, these are the exciting races because these are the horses that are going to go on to be your Kentucky Oaks type horses, go on to be your Kentucky Derby type horses. They're going to be the next Malathons, right? Malathon made her debut one day in a race like this. And it's always one of the fun parts about Saratoga is to keep an eye on these young baby races, what we call them up here, to see who the next stars are going to be. And I think both of those horses are extremely live in this spot.
Before we move on to race 10, how are you playing race 6?
Yeah, I'll probably try to keep an eye on the tote board. Obviously, that's a big part of it. Chad is typically a little bit better first out than Shug is. That's not it's not even better. I would say that Chad has his horses ready to run first out, while Shug will kind of run them into shape. And he doesn't necessarily need to win first out. So I would say the edge goes to Watasha. But like I said, Irish C could be any kind based on the workout, based on the pedigree being trained by Shug. So I'll keep an eye on that, but I'll probably bet Watasha to win. Maybe try to get them hooked up in multi-race bets. It's in race 6. So you can maybe try to play a double with Malathot into one of them to try to create some value with Malathot. She's going to be really hard to bet to win. She'll probably be 1-2, if not shorter, maybe 1-3 or 1-5. So we'll have to see what happens there. But I think that there's an opportunity to play a double there into one of those two horses. Maybe play a $10 double into Watasha and a $5 double into Irish C. We want to spend a little bit more money on the thing we think is more likely to happen, and I think that's probably Watasha.
All right, last but not least, let's break down race 10, the Caress, a grade 3 stake race, 6.6 furlongs. It's on turf. Caravel is the horse you're looking, 4-year-old, which I find interesting, trained by the breeder, Elizabeth Mary. And oh, by the way, if you like food, Bobby Flay. So, how often does that happen, that a trainer is also the breeder, Jonathan?
Yeah, Caravel's an interesting story. I actually know this story pretty intimately. A friend of mine was involved in trying to get her bought. She was bred and trained by Elizabeth Merriman. She had that big performance last time at Monmouth. And after that, a lot of people started reaching out, trying to make a private purchase. They wanted to buy her. And then sometimes you buy a horse and move them to your trainer. Sometimes you keep them with the old trainer. It depends on how it all unfolds. Bobby Flay was the one who got that deal done. They bought this horse for quite a lot of money, especially for a turf sprinter. And then she's still with Elizabeth Merriman. I'm not sure the details of the deal, if she's going to move to a different trainer after this or stay with her. But yeah, it happens sometimes, not very often. I wouldn't say it's a very, very common that you see that, but she's fast, really fast. And I think you're going to get an okay price because the horse right to her outside, Robin Sparkles, is a fan favorite here in New York. She's a New York bred. She's fast. She's got some big wins. She's won here at Saratoga. And I think that people will bet both horses. So Caravel might actually be a price, but I think Caravel is significantly faster than her from a speed figure standpoint. And so I'll be leaning on Caravel, and I would assume that Bobby Flay will be very happy with the purchase around 6:15 p.m. today.
One more horse I'm curious to get your thoughts on, and that's Jakarta, who also has a lot of speed.
Yeah, she does. She's got a ton of speed. She's a horse that I've bet a handful of times for Mike Maker. She's drawn towards the outside. The only issue is that this is the great part about this game is one day you may absolutely love a horse because of who that horse is facing. And then in another day, you could absolutely despise the horse's chances of winning based on who she's facing. I've been a big Jakarta fan. These are deep waters, and I think she's in trouble in terms of trying to beat those two horses in Robin Sparkles and Caravel. Fantastic.
Great stuff as always, Jonathan. Are you where can folks see you later on this afternoon? I last week I saw you on Fox. You were phenomenal. So
thank you.
Yeah.
No wonder
everybody's so excited I'm working with you. I'm still getting text messages. In fact, I got one I think last night like, "Oh, so cool, you're working with JK." Is that your JK? All right, so should I just call you JK? I watched your work last week. It was great. So where can folks find you later on this afternoon? Will you be back on Fox? What are you doing?
Yeah, we're on FS1 or FS2 today. I always forget, but I never. It's one of the two. Just flip through the channels. You can also watch it on YouTube, which is what I do often when I'm at home watching the show. When I'm watching my friends on TV, I just watch it on YouTube. You don't have to guess anymore on New York Racing Association's YouTube page. But yeah, I'm on from 3:30 to 6 or 3:30 to close today, and the same tomorrow. So it should be a fun show. Early, obviously, Malathot will be early on the show. Typically, those big stakes races are later. But because it's a smaller field, we went ahead and put it earlier on the card, not to interfere with pick sixes and pick fives. Obviously, that would just be a free square for many. And so we had that race a little bit early. But, yeah, it should be a fun day. It's supposed to be beautiful outside. I hear the highs of 80, which is not something you hear very often from someone from Texas.
No, especially in July. So I can't wait to see what shirt you're going to be sporting later on today. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Saratoga Saturdays. We're here with you every Saturday morning, a little bit early today because I'm here in Asbury, but we're on every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and Jonathan giving us his favorite races, his favorite horses, his favorite plays. So make sure you tune in. We're with you throughout the next few weeks. So Jonathan, have a great day. ABR, thank you so much. Everybody, good luck at the races later on this afternoon.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.